This is chapter 7.3, using percent proportion. Here's your key concepts for the day. Go ahead and get these copied in your notes and then replay me when you're ready for the explanation. Okay, so we've got percent proportion is one ratio that compares part of a quantity to the whole quantity. The other ratio is the equivalent percent written as a fraction with a denominator of 100. So in words, we're going to write part over whole with the percent being over 100. Of course, you remember that percent means 100, right? So it's going to be percent over 100. Part to whole equals percent to 100. Now here's this little concept summary. I hope you did get this copied in to your notes. If you didn't, go ahead and get that in right now. If it asks you to find the percent, for example, one is what percent of 5, or what percent of 5 is 1? Those are some examples that they would ask you. This is the type of proportion you would set up. 1 is the part, the whole is 5. We're looking for that percent, so we put a P over 100 using this proportion here. When it asks you to find the part, something like they would ask you what number is 20% of 5, so you would have a part over whole, but they tell you the percent, so you put 20 and your denominator is always over 100. And then if they're asking you to find the whole, for example, if they ask you 1 is 20% of what number, you would write 1 over B, or X, is 20%, 20 over 100. So these are all the types of proportions that you would set up. So of course the top is always going to be the part, the bottom is always going to be the whole, and then percent over 100. Now this whole number here is always going to follow the word of. Okay, of is always going to be the whole number. Okay, so this says of 5. You see that the 5 is in the bottom. Let's see, of 5 here. You see the 5 is in the bottom. So anytime that word, you see that word of, whatever follows that, that's going to be that whole number. Okay, my first example says use the percent proportion to solve each problem. This one will be an I do. The problem says 12 is what percent of 32? So I have to solve or set up that proportion. Remember, it's going to be part to whole equals percent over 100. Okay, so 12 is what percent of 32? So where are these all going to be put in? Well, here we've got the part, which is 12. Remember I told you that that whole follows the of? So there's our whole, which is 32. And we're actually going to be looking for that percent. So we're going to put an X over there over 100. It's always going to be over 100 for percent. We do some cross multiplying. We get 1200 equals 32x. We divide 1200 by 32. And x is 37.5. And it asked me what percent, so what do I need on the back of this answer? A percent sign. So my answer is 37.5%. All right, you do this one. Try the best you can. Don't just let me work it out. You try it, and then replay me when you're ready for the answer. So this says 15 is what percent of 20? So we're going to set up 15 over 20, part to whole, equals percent something over 100. We do some cross multiplying, and 1500 equals 20x. I divide by 20 on both sides, and 1500 divided by 20 is 75. And it asked me what percent, so I have to have that percent sign on the back of it. All right, here's another you do. Try this one as best you can. When you've finished trying, then you can replay me and see if you got the answer correct. Okay, so this says what percent of 5 is 12? So we're saying what percent of 5? Okay, so that of 5 is going to be the whole. And that 12 is going to be the part. It kind of sounds a little backwards because 12 is bigger than 5, but that's okay. And we're going to say the percent is, we don't know, over 100. So we have 1200 equals 5x, and we divide by 5 on both sides, and 1200 divided by 5 is 240. And we're looking for percent, so that's percent. X is 240%. Okay, here is back to I do. Okay, so now this time we're going to be looking for the number. And they give me a percent and they give me the whole, so I'm going to be looking for that part. So how do I set that up? Remember, it's part over whole equals percent over 100. So the part, I don't know. But I do know that the whole is 450, and I know my percent is 15.5 over 100. We do some cross multiplying, we get 100x. 450 times 15.5 is 6,975. Divide by 100, and x is 69.75. So that number that they're looking for, 69.75, is 15.5% of 450. All right, you try this one. Go ahead and do the best you can. When you're ready for the answer, go ahead and replay me. So it's asking you, what is the number? Ooh, kind of erased a little bit of there. What number is 11.4% of 330? So what number we're looking for? We have 330 being the whole, equals 11.4 over 100. We do some cross multiplying, we get 100x equals 330 times 11.4, and that is 3,762. Divide by 100, and x is 37.62. All right, here's another you do. Try this one as best you can. When you're ready for your answer, go ahead and replay me. So we're trying to find 15.3% of 425. So I know this of 425 is my whole, 425. And I know that 15.3 is over 100 because it's percent over 100, and we're looking for that number. So we'll have 100x, and 425 times 15.3 is 6,502.5. We divide by 100, and x is 65.025. Okay, here is another I do. I am going to try and find the whole number this time. So it's saying 78 is 60% of what number? When it says of what number, that's where that whole number is, x. So we've got 78 of what number is 60% over 100. Cross multiply, we get 7,800 equals 60x. Divide by 60, and 7,800 divided by 60 is 130. All right, you do this one as best you can. Replay me when you're ready for your answer. So 30% of what number is 63? So you want to set up 63 over x equals 30 over 100. 6,300 equals 30x. Divide by 30 on both sides, and x is 210. Okay, try this one on your own, and when you're ready for your answer, go ahead and replay me. So it says 45 is 3% of what number? 45 over what number is 3 over 100. 4,500 equals 3x. Divide by 3, and x is 1,500. Okay, here is a word problem. The table shows the batting statistics for one season for Derek Jeter of the New York Yankees. If he had 639 at-bats, what percent of his at-bats were singles? Round to the nearest tenth. Okay, so it's saying round to the nearest tenth. Now, does it really matter that this is Derek Jeter or that this is the New York Yankees? Unless you're a super baseball fan, it doesn't really matter. It's not pertinent information to this problem particularly. But it is important that he has 639 at-bats. And they're also asking what percent of his at-bats were singles. Okay, those are our important pieces of information. So the total is 639, and we're looking at singles. So we have 151. At-bats is 639, part to whole. And I am looking for what percent that is, so that's going to be that x over 100. And when I do some cross multiplying, I get 151 equals 639. X, I divide by 639. And when I do that, I get x to equal 23.6. And that's asking me what percent, so that I need a percent sign on the back of that. Okay. All right, you try this one. Do the best you can. Don't just let me work it out. You try it, and then once you try the best you can and have an answer, then replay me when you're ready for the answer. Okay, so he has, again, still Derek Jeter, still the New York Yankees. Doesn't really matter too much for this problem. But if he has 639 at-bats, they're asking what percent were strikeouts, round to the nearest tenth. Okay, so we've got strikeouts being 100, total is 639, so it's going to be 100 over 639 is x over 100. Some cross multiplying. 639x, you divide by 639. And x is 15.6. We're rounding to the nearest tenth. And it's asking you what percent, so you have to have that percent sign on the back of it. Okay, here are your extra practice problems. Go ahead and try these as best you can and have them ready for class the next time we see each other. Good luck.